Warning. This episode of Other Dangers podcast contains violent themes, including sexual assault. As we want to provide a safe experience for all listeners, personal discretion is advised.
Many instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Other Dangers Podcast. We talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
I never get on Howard Dwell in the Dark. We want to talk about it. And tonight, we will be discussing the Entity case.
Oh, yeah. An American legend.
An American legend. We've recently lost one, in the last episode.
But you know what? We're here for another one.
Another one. Yeah, yep. We're still going. It was a rough trek in the last one, but this one does have yield some fruit, I feel.
I think it does. I like this one.
Right.
I
do too. Once again, we get a great movie out of it.
We get a disturbing movie out of it.
And also there's a couple different scientific studies that were worked around it that I guess lend it to them that now are discredited. But before we get to the Entity, we're going over to Jay for tonight's Jump Scare.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome, buddy.
Yes. All right. So this was sent to us recently. Anonymous. Kind of weird.
Anon? All right.
Yeah. Not the group. It was just sent as anonymous. They didn't put their name. They just, they said, here's a story that happened about 20 years ago. And that's about it. And they were a fan of the show.
I'll take it.
I will take it too.
Hey, guys, send in your stories.
Please send in stories. We love reading them.
We need them.
Yeah, I mean,
we need them.
Yeah, we could use a few more.
Yeah,
we reached the bottom of the barrel again because we got one in. And thank you for sending this after we asked from the last episode. But yeah. OtherDangersPodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Hook it up.
Yeah, let's go.
Break it off. All right. So our anonymous friend says, I was about 20 years old and driving a friend home one day. We took a road that I frequently drove on and still do. It's in a relatively busy area and neighborhood. Nothing out of the ordinary about it, really. As I was driving down the road and about to cross over a paved bridge, I noticed a woman in all black clothing with some sort of head dressing on. Yeah. I could only see her face, and her body was facing away from the street, and her head turned to look at us. She made direct eye contact with me. She had a round face with big puffy cheeks.
Ew. Is she me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You want to be put in a dress? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, just the round face.
Oh, okay.
Cheeks.
Her brow was furrowed like she was angry, and her eyes were so dark and wide. It was like she was making sure I knew she saw me. She was standing near the guardrail on the side of the road, which I thought was a bizarre place to stand and spectate. I found it so bizarre that as we passed her, I pointed her out to my friend and said, "Why is that woman standing there?" My friend looked at me and immediately said, "What woman?" The woman was on the right side of the street, which was directly next to the passenger side door where my friend sat. When I looked in my rearview mirror to explain, she was completely gone. It freaked me out so badly that I started crying, so overwhelmed with emotion. It happened so fast that there was no way for her to run or walk away. The whole interaction lasted mere seconds, but to this day, 12 years later, I can still vividly see the woman's face. It gives me the creeps. Every time I drive down that road, which is every day on the way home from work, I wonder if I'll see her again. Anonymous.
I didn't mean to laugh, but in the same breath, that sucks.
It does.
Yeah. Trauma. See, if I had a paranormal experience, I'd always want to drive by.
Yeah.
I want to take the risk.
You were like, it happened right there.
Yeah. And also when I'd have my camera up,
Yeah.
Scream World Star as I pass through.
Whoa. If I had that, I would try to do something of the like, let's bring along a little mayo kind of situation. bring him with us and like, do like the praise up next to the area where you had the experience, have him like pointing at it.
Yeah.
Like this is ice,
Dude,
something like that.
Lil Mayo, he is ahead of the curve when it comes to being cool.
Yeah.
And actually pointing stuff out.
I don't know why, but whenever I see Lil Mayo, I was like, this guy should have been part of the Burger King Kids Club.
That's actually very accurate.
Right? He's got the same kind of look.
Yeah, but he also would have like made them all look like a bunch of stupid bitches.
No, but he'd be like hanging back at the pad. He'd be like hanging out. Like remember what was his name? Kid Vid. Remember him with the goggles?
Yeah,
like him and Lil Mayo would be like besties.
Yeah, but Lil Mayo is already infinitely cooler.
Yeah, I know,
Kid
but
Vid.
now he is because he's like cooler later. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Back in the day,
okay.
when he was really Lil Mayo, and it kind of works with the whole Burger King thing.
Yeah, because
what do you want on your burger?
Put Lil Mayo on the Whopper
yeah.
because Whoppers always have mayo.
Yeah.
And they always go crazy. You're like
Lil Mayo.
in Paquito.
Yep. He worked there, and he just all the times they were like, "Hey, Lil Mayo, what are they having on it? Lil Mayo," and it stuck.
Yeah.
So that's how he got his name.
Lil High.
Yep.
So that's good. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I appreciate that. That's very good. Our
That's a horrifying story. If I saw a woman in black with a weird puffy cheeks and really wide eyes, that's
you're looking at me as a woman. Is what's
I
happening.
hate that.
I know it sucks.
really hate
it.
that.
It sucks.
Don't do this to us.
Bad. Dude. Just telling you. Telling you what the story dictates. Here. It's not me. It's the story.
All right.
But yeah, big puffy cheeks, round face. Me in a dress staring at you on the side of the road.
I never want that.
Furrowed brows.
Yeah, I don't like that. You're talking about De Niro face?
Furrowed brow.
All right.
Yeah. De Niro facing you?
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then you shave my beard off? Ugh.
Yeah, you
That's-
probably look 12.
That's
A bald 12-year-old.
A bald 12-year-old. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
I hate it.
Well, Anonymous, I'm sorry we somewhat made a mockery of your story.
Honestly, if they cared, they would have gave the name.
That's true.
So at this
That's
point,
true. If you want to email us your name, we'll fix this.
Yeah.
And if you did, this will get edited right here.
and also if you want me to Photoshop my face as the character on the side of the road,
No.
get ready because it gets rough. But all right, guys. Thanks for the jump scare. We're gonna head over to the Other Dangerous Podcast news desk. We're gonna go with another haunted headline.
Haunted headlines.
All right, thanks, Ken. This one comes from the Independent. You remember, Jay, I think it was last year, the Las Vegas body cam video of the cop where the meteor fell down, and then
remember.
the family was really upset. They responded to a call, and the cop was even like, "This is weird.
Yeah.
We saw that. I'm freaking out." And they described this creature that was in the backyard. Well, one of the kids is speaking out that was involved.
Let's hear about it.
A Las Vegas teen whose family was ridiculed for calling 911 to report an alien in the backyard speaks out. Angel Kenmore insists that he is telling the truth about the extraterrestrial encounter that left him paralyzed by fear. A teenager who was ridiculed after his family called 911 to report seeing a 10-foot tall alien in their backyard has spoken out a year after the incident and is sticking to his story. Angel Kenmore, 17, claimed he was with his family in the yard of their Las Vegas home on the night of April 30th, 2023. That's almost a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
When a bright light came crashing to the ground and he saw a giant creature. Other witnesses reported seeing the bright light, which was captured on the police officer's body cam footage. The family called 911 with the caller telling the dispatcher, "I swear to God, it's not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified." Multiple family members corroborated the story to police officers, with one heard on a body cam recording saying he saw a shooting star, and now these people are saying there's aliens in their backyard. The Kenmore family went public with their story last year, and Angel revealed that he could make out a tall, very thin creature between 8 and 10 feet tall.
I don't like the tall alien thing.
I don't like the tall alien thing at all.
Because that was in Close Encounters when like the big one came out, and like I don't like the tall alien at all.
Fuck that. The Kemlars even created drawings of what they claim to have seen. There's a picture here. It's not great.
I'm kind of into it. It has like I'm a teenager, so like I do the smudge shading. Yeah.
Not great.
That's a 6th grade notebook drawing right there. And it's on the cover of your book, and like, because it's on the book cover, it just slides along with your book, so it just gets more smudged and smudged as the year goes on.
It's sick.
Somebody draws a dick on it.
The S is right next to it. The family was relentlessly mocked for their claim by some, but their story also brought UFO hunters to their home, forcing them to put up no trespassing signs on the property. Now, almost 1 year on the day, Angel has spoken against to insist that he was telling the truth. He said this week that he was left paralyzed by fear by the apparent extraterrestrial encounter. It was moving and breathing. It was pissed off, like it wanted to do something looking at me. I remembered he was growling, he told News Nation this week.
The alien was growling?
What's up with News Nation picking up all these?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Angel originally said the creature was an alien. He said he now believes that it was a demon.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I couldn't move, he told the outlet, explaining how he looked at the creature for around 30 seconds. Angel also hit out at the family's critics, saying they can think whatever they want. They want. Like, yeah, okay, they can. If I was doing it for fame, I would be on YouTube. I made no money off this. I don't need money. It was a really bad and traumatizing experience, he said. So, our boy, he's tired of the bullshit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to hear your criticism.
Okay.
Saw a demon, man.
I'm not going to get into the particulars.
No, it's if he did see an alien, it's weird a year later, but it's not weird a year later. But then also address the money thing and the YouTube thing.
They're trying to squeeze every last drop.
Yeah, but it was actually weird too, though. After it happened, where the actual police in that area actually put cameras up around the house, and they put like a camera on their house. PTZ, as they call them, that move.
Oh. And did they capture anything?
Industry jargon. No, because it was already gone.
Yeah.
It was afterward.
It was back to the Mars.
Well, they were doing it... Yeah. Back to the stars. They were doing it to, I guess, monitor the people around there that were trying to break onto the property. But...
You smell that? I smell bullshit.
I smell facts.
Okay.
Nah, that's fine.
It's fun. It's a fun story. I remember when it happened last year. I remember when they were talking about it, and I didn't know that video was. I thought that was part of it because they wanted you to think it was part of it.
The family didn't.
No, they didn't. But like, the internet.
Yeah, the internet wanted you to think.
And I was like, that is fake as fuck. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's not even good.
Is this Killer Instinct Gold? That's what I thought.
Right.
I was like, this was a character from Killer Instinct Gold.
Jago.
Or yeah, dude. Oh god, they keep this. Anyway. Yeah, that's what we got here for the haunted headline.
Okay.
So just to recap.
I was haunted by that headline. I just want you to know.
Yeah, as well you should continue to be, my friend.
All right.
Now, my friend Jason.
Yeah.
The Entity.
The Entity case. Great movie.
When did you? Is the movie your introduction to this case?
No, because I only saw this movie the first time. Recently, like within the last 10 years or so. I knew of it. I knew of the story. I knew it existed. Right. I've never seen clips of it, but my introduction to the story was through the great sightings. Tim White.
Wow.
Yeah. Tim White, he can't die ever, by the way. We can't have him die. What do we do we already lost Robert Stack some time ago. And then we lose...
If we lose Tim White, I'm going on a face punching spree.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start knocking motherfuckers out.
Can't lose him because he broke it down for us in his fake news station. It was fun. But yeah, first time I heard
that was a real news studio, by the way.
I like the guys in the lab coats and they were putting those like bing, 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 bing noises. I was like, what the fuck? Sound like Willy Wonka's factory?
That's science.
It is science.
That's how science sounds.
All right.
Get it together.
I have it together. So, in 1982, a film called The Entity was unleashed on American cinema goers, and this terrifying experience followed a young woman as she was sexually assaulted and tormented by an unseen force. This movie is fucking wild. If you haven't seen it yet, first of all, trigger warning, there's a lot of ghost rape.
Ghost essay.
Essay?
Sexual
assault.
That's,
Gotcha.
that's what they do on YouTube.
Do
They call it
essay? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, algorithm. There's a lot of ghost essay. I'm like, you got a ghost essay?
Yeah, ghost essay. Another trigger warning.
What, the accent? Did we do what we want on here?
Yeah,
we're
fuck you.
well-meaning.
Yeah,
Don't start
come
with the
on,
bullshit.
come on.
So in this case, reality is more frightening than fiction because the true story behind The Entity is a much more harrowing ordeal than could ever be contained on celluloid. The story of Doris Bither, the woman whose life inspired the classic horror film, is one of addiction, abuse, and spectral A. Hey man, I'm trying. It's not for the weak of heart.
I just said what you want. I was fucking around.
Yeah, I you know what though? I'm not trying to sit here and say rape 150 times.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's
I mean,
pretty gnarly.
these are her claims, Joe. I'm just going to say it because these are her claims.
Yeah.
The haunting of Doris Bither was a true nightmare scenario. She was being assaulted and her children assaulted on almost a nightly basis, and that's sexually assaulted for her. And there was nothing that could be done about it because ghosts.
You know what? That's such a dude. If you're a ghost, that's such a fucking loser fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, you could do so much other stuff as a ghost. Probably fly now.
He's not even at the ghost party.
He wasn't invited. That's
true.
why
He
he's
got kicked
doing
out.
this. Yeah, he got kicked out because he was touching other ghosts. Too.
I don't know. The Entity is one of the few movies based on true events that manages to capture the feeling of desperation that the real-life counterparts surely felt, but it still can't come anywhere close to the real horror that Bither was forced to endure until the day she died.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I can't say it. It's pretty wild. In 1974, Doris Bither, a mother of four, was living with her sons in a small house in Culver City, California, when she began to suffer a series of physical attacks that she claims were perpetrated by a group of ghosts. It's not the three ghosts from Casper, don't say it. It is, isn't it?
It's a ghostly trio. It
It
really
is.
is
Oh,
a ghostly
shit.
trio.
Jesus Christ. Rather,
How much darker would that movie have been if instead of it was
They just got
Cat and
back
the
every
family?
night?
Yeah. The Casper's like, where were you guys at? And they're like, Doris Bither's house.
we were at Culver City, California, and then they just slap them.
Yeah.
Rather than what most would consider a normal haunting, weird things happening around the house and such, Bither claimed that she was being raped by the phantoms. It's not good, man. This may seem far-fetched, but the concept of, quote, spectral rape, I'm sorry for how many times I'm saying this word.
Dude, it's not your fault.
I know. Goes back to the time of ancient Greek literature, and modern scientists have tied this phenomenon to sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I have heard this before. The incubus, succubus.
You're chanting, Ray. You're chanting.
Sleep paralysis affects 20% of the population. That's a lot.
Is that a fact, though, or do you think people were hopping on after the movie that came out on Netflix?
Oh, the what's that one called? The Nightmare?
The Nightmare?
Christina couldn't watch it. We put it on. She was like, I can't watch this. I was like, why? She's like, this is just, I can't watch this. I was like, okay.
My wife saw The Hat Man, you know?
Yeah. And look at her
She'd
now.
watch it. Yeah. Just knee deep in Daisy on Xbox, you know?
Oh, Daisy. That's what she's playing?
That's what she's playing, dude.
Insane. And sometimes occurs when a person wakes up before finishing their REM cycle. But was Bither experiencing sleep paralysis or something much more terrifying?
I don't know.
While she was alive, Bither claimed that she wasn't just attacked by one ghost, but 3 different entities who would attack her.
Stinky and Stretch.
They would attack her on a regular basis. 2 of them, she claimed, were small creatures who would hold her down, while the largest of the entities would be the one who R-worded her.
All right.
I can't
good.
say this
No,
anytime.
our word's good. Our word's good.
Her sons got so used to seeing the ghost that they referred to the ghost that they saw with the most as Mr. Who's It.
All right.
Yeah. One of her sons claimed to have
That's a
seen...
bullshit name.
it's
These kids are dumb.
I don't know. One of her sons claimed to have seen Bither thrown around the room by an invisible phenomenon.
No, they didn't.
He claims that when he tried to stop the attack, he was also tossed away like loose garbage.
He is loose garbage for that name.
Bither's eldest son, Brian Harris, way to dox a motherfucker, described the entities as like a fog or, quote, like a human, but not quite.
So H.P. Lovecraft is creeping into the story.
Yes. The attacks against Bither were particularly brutal, and they went on for years. Bither was tossed around the room, slapped, and R-worded almost nightly. I'll try to pepper and assaulted.
That's fine. No, keep reading.
Her sons recall seeing major scarring on her legs and thighs as if someone had grabbed her.
How many injection marks?
Lots.
Yeah.
Bither's oldest son, Brian Harris, claims to have witnessed many of the attacks. In an interview from 2009, he says that because his bedroom was next door to his mother's room, he would have to listen to the assaults as they happened, and in a few cases, he actually saw her being beaten by an invisible force.
From the producers of the Amityville Horror documentary for Netflix.
It was like if a man was standing in front of my mother and would start to beat her. Imagine a woman being beaten. You could see her being picked up and thrown around. Sounds, slaps, but that no one was actually there to do it. He continued, "We all felt it too, pulling, biting, and scratching. We were all attacked."
Yeah, it was like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar and Ed Norton in Fight Club.
Right. Or just watch the movie because they do a pretty good job. It's pretty fucked up.
Right, but okay, I'm sorry.
It's fine. According to Bither's sons,
We haven't had an It's Fine in a long time.
well, there it is, buddy.
There it is.
According to Bither's sons, she wasn't the only one in the house who was being attacked by these ghostly creatures. The members of her family who would speak about the incident claim that at different times throughout the years they experienced things in the house as well. They say one of them was slapped by a creature, one of them bumped into an invisible man in the hallway. That's weird. And the eldest son found a way to make ghosts particularly excited.
I like the bump in the hallway one. That's creepy.
Yeah, like you're walking and you just hit something
Yeah, because
invisible.
that's just like an innocuous thing. It's just like you're walking and they're like, whoa, excuse me, sir. Wait, this is my hallway. No one should be here. Like that's, yeah.
So, check this out. Bither's eldest son alleges that whenever he listened to Black Sabbath or Uriah Heep, that there would be an increase in paranormal activity around the home.
My Uncle John he'd be like, yeah.
He claims that music would set off a chain reaction of orbs appearing around the house, and the house lights would turn on and off.
Yeah.
It's impossible to say what actually causes any haunting, Ken. We don't know. Some researchers believe that a haunting is caused by a negative energy in a home stemming from a curse or a past violence on the land. We've been over that.
Yeah.
Other paranormal investigators believe that those who are haunted bring it on themselves. Unfortunately, Bither passed away in 1999, and towards the end of her life, she seemed to go out of her way to avoid discussing the case that had brought her so much pain throughout her life.
Yeah, I imagine.
I know. Some reports say she suffered from childhood abuse, and her son Brian said that she was disowned by her family after a major altercation in her teens.
Right.
Some paranormal researchers allege that Doris spent her teens taking part in seances and toying with dark magic.
Oh my God.
Without speaking directly to Bither, there's no way to know for sure exactly what happened in her childhood that would attract spirits towards her, but the one thing that is certain is that she led an incredibly tumultuous and tortured life.
So no one after like the movie came out, no one was able to be like, hey, what happened in your
No,
childhood?
she was too busy spending all that
You're
cash.
right. Yeah,
You kidding me?
She was making it rain. She was in the strip club.
She was somewhere. I don't know.
She was in fucking Toys R Us. Fucking
Sick. That's where I'd be.
yeah, me and you would be in Toys R Us.
Hell yeah.
Like, I'd be like, I want that bike. That bike sucks, but I want it anyway. Mm-hmm. Is that a Toys R Us?
So many action figures.
Oh my God. Oh my dude. I already. God bless my mother. God bless my mother. But
After the spectral assault started to become a normal thing in the Bither household, a group of paranormal investigators were called to see if they could figure out what was going on. The group of around 30 investigators set up cameras to catch anything happening
That's so
while they're
much.
in the home.
That's so
After
much.
everything was in place, they had Bither conjure the entities. That's really weird because, like, all right, you want to get what on tape? You're going to try to get one of these assaults on tape? What are you doing?
And also, like I said, 30. That's too much.
It's too much energy. If we're going by those terms.
Even if it's too much energy, I think it's too many people for there to be a concentration of energy.
Like, say we're doing a podcast. Do we need 30 cameras to do the podcast?
Yeah, well, but even that, like, let's say anything. Let's say we're investigators. We're interrogating a criminal. Mm-hmm. Too many chefs.
It's too
burn
much.
the soup, my friend.
I don't know.
And you think 30 motherfuckers are keeping their mouths shut in there?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, all these guys are fucking talking. People are talking.
Yeah.
30 investigators.
30 jagoffs.
Yeah, 30 jagoff investigators.
I gotcha.
That's such a... I don't even know what to call it. It's such a...
An
overreach, or even just it's poor investigation.
Yeah.
Because like you want, what do you want? Best three minds on a case on anything, especially even if it's a criminal case.
Right.
So we're gonna go, okay, we're gonna take something that is widely regarded as bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna send 30 motherfuckers in there.
I got you, man.
And then you go, okay, circus. It's a circus again.
Yeah. And what's funny is this is Barry Taff who was on this. And Kerry Gaynor, as we saw in the famous sightings episode.
I'm appalled at these two.
Speaking of sightings, I think this would be a good place to drop a clip from that famous episode.
And here.
In the quest for evidence, two researchers from UCLA got more than they bargained for. Kerry Gaynor and Dr. Barry Taff were witness to one of the most celebrated cases in ghost hunting history, the Entity case. It was later popularized in a book and a film called The Entity. But what the real investigators found when they met the victim of the haunting was more bizarre and more compelling than any movie.
When I went over to her house, we conducted about a 2-hour interview, and during that time, she told us a lot of interesting experiences, but I knew she was holding something back. And at the end of the interview, she finally admitted to us that she was attacked and raped by the ghost. At that time, we thought she was probably crazy.
The events that then transpired over the next 10 weeks were chronicled in the Journal of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, including the night the investigators went from being skeptics to true believers.
The lady screamed out, "It's in my bedroom." We ran in there. She shouted out, "It's over in the corner." We fired our Polaroid camera in the direction that she said. We didn't see anything, but the picture came out bleached out white completely. She shouted out again, "It's in the corner." Again, we fired our camera, and it was bleached out completely. At that point, I thought the camera was just malfunctioning. I waited till she said it was gone, and I took 2 control pictures. Those pictures are perfectly normal pictures. The only difference, she said it was in the corner in the first ones, and in these, she said it was gone. A few moments later, we felt a cold breeze of air coming through the door, accompanied by a horrible stench, a stench so foul, some people were vomiting. We fired the camera in the direction that breeze was flowing towards us, and again, the picture was bleached out completely, except at the bottom of the doorway, you can see a little round ball of light. A few minutes later, she screamed out, "It's right in front of my face." We fired the camera, and the face was completely obliterated. As you can see the curtains behind her, you can see her dress. She shouted out again, "It's right in front of my face." Again, the face is completely obliterated. Now, those were her exact words, "It's right in front of my face." Once again, I wanted a control picture. I waited till she said it was gone, and I took the final picture. And this is a perfect, normal picture. It's just dark because we didn't adjust the setting. There's a scratch on it, which we put on it when we tried to clean it a little bit. But otherwise, it's a normal picture. The only difference between these two, in one, she said it was in front of my face. In the other one, she said it was gone.
Even with these pictures, Gaynor still had trouble convincing his colleagues at UCLA that he was on to something significant.
Initially, they would say, "Well, you're hallucinating." So then I would look at them and say, "Well, we've got 20 witnesses." And they would say, "Well, then it's obviously mass hallucination."
Gaynor returned to the house a number of times, bringing more witnesses with him, and the eerie phenomenon became even more pronounced.
We started seeing balls of light lighting up the walls, and everybody in the room would see this. And the lights would get bigger and bigger and brighter and brighter. And at some point, I finally started talking to it. And I said, "Well, if you're really here, come off the wall." Because what I was concerned was that somebody in the room was faking it, and they were projecting the light onto the wall. Well, when I asked that question, the light lifted off the wall, floated into the middle of our room, started spinning and twisting and expanding in different directions simultaneously. It had full parallax. We could see it from all sides, and I had 9 professional photographers set up in the room that were shooting it from all sides.
The lights came in, it was like, it almost come in like in a state of anger. It almost came, all right, here I am, this is me. And it came in, and it kind of did a little thing in the group, and then it was gone.
It was the most extraordinary thing we've ever come across. It happened over and over again. We experienced a plethora of phenomena during that investigation.
The part that interested me the most was the fact that what we saw, we were able to get on film.
The photographers at that session had only limited success capturing the entity on film, with one notable exception.
What we see here are reverse arcs of light. One arc goes right here, another arc goes right here. Now, the reason this picture is so important to us is that the arc on the wall, if it were really on the wall, would be bent, because those 2 walls there are perpendicular. It's not bent, which means the arc is floating in space. The significance of that for us as researchers is, of course, that means it's dimensional and very, very difficult to fake. This was not somebody with a flashlight shining it on a wall. That light is in empty space.
The negative of this photo was authenticated by Popular Photography and was the only alleged ghost photo ever published in the magazine. Frank DiFelita, the author of Audrey Rose, was also witness to the phenomena. His incredible first-hand experience in the Culver City, California house inspired him to write The Entity, which was later made into a motion picture.
All the instruments started clicking away. So I knew everyone was seeing this at the same time that I was. They were ducking, and everyone was saying, oh my God, look at that, oh my God. And then Doris started screaming. That was the woman who was being belabored by this creature. Started screaming, I don't want to see your lights, show us yourself. Damn you, show us yourself. She started cursing and swearing at it. And there, lo and behold, at that point, it started to appear. It sort of developed a kind of, a kind of arm was articulated. You could see sort of like an arm, and then a neck. And then of all things, a kind of bald head. Now, this could have been our imagination, but collectively, we saw the same thing, every one of us. We saw the same thing.
But we don't consider our pictures proof of anything. We consider them part of the struggle to gather evidence to try to understand this phenomenon. During our investigations, we spend thousands of hours trying to be in the right place at the right time. In the Entity case, for some reason, we were there. We were there at the right time. And we were experiencing the phenomena over and over again. Although some of the people there found it frightening, I found it very exciting and exhilarating. That's what I'm in this for. It's an opportunity to witness things that we've been taught all our life cannot be. It's a connection with the unknown.
Traditionally, a haunting is associated with a place, but investigators in the Entity case always suspected that this haunting was somehow connected to the woman herself. And in fact, when she fled the house, the Entity went with her. For 5 years, the haunting diminished gradually and has now completely disappeared.
You just can't pull that kind of flavor this time of the
No.
It just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that flavor is long gone, and
Yeah.
we're trying to harness that, dare I say, flavor
Trying.
here. We're doing our best, but in reality, we just ooze flavor. So
It's true, and we add just a little mayo. I'm a dad joke machine.
I love you.
I know.
That's what this is.
According to a later report,
Whoa!
Bither went into a frenzy and began to swear and taunt the spirits while the investigators watched.
Because she was withdrawn.
Allegedly, light orbs began to manifest in the room, followed by a green mist that snaked out from a corner of the room. Investigators claim a mist formed in the shape of a human torso and a series of muscles. After having their film developed, the investigators were dismayed to find that none of this had been captured on camera, save for a free arc that was seen to be floating above Bither. That's the famous photo, and you probably know it.
But also, if that's the case, a human torso forming,
Yeah.
I want to believe that so bad.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
And it's also something I've seen. Like, I've seen pieces of a person.
Well, the problem
I've called
is
you freaking...
too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen, man. They
too many
overdid
chefs
it.
burn the soup.
Overkill. An interesting note to the paranormal investigator story comes from Bither's son, Brian, who was just out of elementary school at the time of the attacks. He claims that the presence of the paranormal investigators exacerbated the haunting. making his home life a complete hell. He told an interviewer in 2009, "When the team would show up, I hated it because I knew as soon as they left, they would become so angry that the house would come alive."
That's like a common story with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, stirring it up.
Yeah, and that's where they took the stuff from Poltergeist, which obviously is one of our favorite, ghost movies over here at ODP.
So trying to pin down a reason behind such a violent and horrific assault is impossible. One must assume that whatever type of energy creates a spirit is capable of holding the same disgusting, vile sentiments that rapists have.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
Do you mind? So the Philip experiment.
Yeah.
That was at, I think, was it Princeton? I think it was Princeton. They based a lot of this off of that. So they basically, now it's since been defunct, and not debunked, but like, none of that stuff happened. But in reality, it still stands there that they basically had a controlled environment, and that's where part of the movie came from.
Right.
They started just going, let's do this experiment to see if we just, with intent, address something that isn't there. If it can conjure something. So they would start going, Philip, blah, 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 Philip, blah, blah, and they did this for months and months, and eventually it would start moving things, or would start doing all this other, whatever, it would start responding to them, even though there was no history of haunting in the lab.
Right.
But they created a controlled environment, and this lended itself so much to this story, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing that, like, we could give energy to something, especially within a controlled environment. It's not the bird cage, or fear cage, whatever they call it, where all those electronics can make you. It was just they did this, and hopefully, I think it's true. But we get the whole. Excuse me, sir, but there's no formal records of this. But all right. Sorry, I wanted to interject that here because I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
A tulpa, if you will.
Maybe. So, plenty of researchers have formed theories as to why Bither was attacked, and unfortunately, they all end up with the same, that they blame it gets put squarely on her. They think that it's, something may have been psychologically may have been going on. We don't know. One paranormal researcher's theory is that Bither was psychic or had psychic tendencies, and that her negative energy either made her an easy target for the passing spirits.
We brought this up last episode, where it's a lot of activity or poltergeists. They theorize that it's young women, high emotions, going through puberty.
Who knows?
But that's actually a common.
I know. I've heard that many times. This another theory, which is, I don't even follow this logic, is that because powerful men had abused Doris, she may have subconsciously materialized her attackers. Like she made.
She envisioned Grovers.
It's like she created them. That's that one I was puzzling over for a little bit. I was like, I don't know, guys. I mean, all of this is whatever, but
sure. I mean, but certain things, once we pile over the data, we can point our finger at certain things. That one,
There's also theories that because she dabbled in the occult as a teen, that she had made herself a portal for these evil creatures.
So the Exorcist...
kind of, yeah.
The Exorcist explanation.
Yeah. The most sound theory that they think is that she was suffering from sleep paralysis, but that doesn't account for how she would have received bruises on her inner thighs, or how her children were also assaulted by invisible creatures.
I mean, they could all be in the same bedroom.
Folie à deux. They see it. It's a real thing.
Folie à deux.
Yeah. Can't wait to see that movie.
I can.
Me too. There are some supernatural theories outside the underlying theory that Bither was assaulted by ghosts. The one that makes the most sense is that she may have been the victim of a poltergeist scenario, which is different than a normal haunting. Poltergeists are different from ghosts in that they're non-corporeal, incredibly noisy energy beings that manifest in times of overbearing negative energy.
At least they added the incredibly noisy thing, because that's
the name.
Yeah.
That's what it means. By all accounts, Bither was an alcoholic who wasn't receiving any treatment for her addiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. With 4 kids in the house, it's entirely likely there was a lot of negative emotions floating around.
Sure.
This is the perfect breeding ground for a poltergeist. Bither and her children may have been at their wits' end and managed to create a harmful energy that ran amok throughout the household.
It's funny. I relate a lot of this, besides the ghost essay thing, to my mother and me and my brothers as a kid.
Yeah.
Single mom going through hell. Going through hell.
Yeah.
No father. He's gone.
Yeah.
We had all these paranormal experiences. It was wild. It was wild. Friends had experiences, everything.
Sure.
There was no scientists coming here. My mom's too much of a badass to be like, oh, help, you know. My mom's like, I'll just deal with it. And you know what? My kids will deal with it too.
Yeah.
And they'll be damaged with it. No,
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
especially Chris.
Yeah. Oh, what? Got this for this episode. No, I relate to this story besides the whole, ghost Firkin thing. It's just, I can actually speak to this because I was a latchkey kid. I didn't have a dad. He died when I was 11. It was just my mom, 3 boys, and all her friends. She was charged with raising us, doing her best, very best. A lot of times emotions ran high. A lot of times emotions ran high. Especially the one time I had this whole playset of it was a Star Wars playset.
Yeah.
I was trying to paint them, and I knocked over one of the paint tubes on her new carpet.
Oh boy,
Bro,
unleash the fury.
did you ever get smacked with fucking heels?
No, but that's funny that you bring up the shoe, because the first time I came over your house, your mom threw a shoe up the stairs at your door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She was a ninja with shoes, man.
Yeah.
But anyway,
The chanclas.
Chancla. Those are my chanclas. But no, I know my mom. I joke. She did what she had to do. My mom was awesome, but we had a lot of stuff going on, and I literally relate to this.
No, I hear you.
And I just think this woman was a lesser one.
Okay, that's nice.
As I cover my mouth and try to cover my smile. No, I just, you do drugs. You intravenously inject stuff into your veins, and
I can't even make a call on this. I mean, we're not done yet, but
Yeah,
I can't even make a call on this.
I had to just add some meat.
I gotcha.
I'm relating.
I like it. Just adding a little mayo. The Bither house is still in Culver City, California, but according to reports from people who lived there after Bither, there haven't been any further signs of a haunting. The remaining members of the Bither family claim that after they moved out of the house, the horrible events continued. It would appear that this is a case of person being haunted rather than a place. Makes sense for this kind of thing. This information gives credence to the idea that Bither and her sons either experienced intense poltergeist activity or that she had managed to open a portal within herself to another dimension. Whatever the case, Culver City doesn't appear to be a place anyone needs to avoid. I mean, I don't think it's a great place. So, Ken, following Bither's cry for help among the paranormal investigative community, a book was written about her experience in 1978 titled The Entity by Frank D. Felitta. In 1982, he adapted his book for the screen, and Sidney J. Furie, a director most well known for the films Lady Sings the Blues and Ladybugs. Damn, Ladybugs.
Wait, yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Just talked about that the other day.
Greatness.
Synchronicity.
Yes, it is. Directed the piece. According to an interview with Rue Morgue from 2012, Furie went out of his way to keep from learning anything about the actual case, and the film is a very loose adaptation of the actual events.
Well, that kind of sounds like also like a...
In any case, Martin Scorsese apparently loves the film and put it on his list of the 11 scariest movies he's ever seen.
I'll tell you, The Irishman was...
Terrible. Yeah. So, that's it in a nutshell, man.
Right. Well, let's get back to the idea of turmoil causing these things within families, right?
Well, there is something to add, because they talk about the trauma, and that's what you're talking about. Not only were the house that they were living in maybe was small, but Bither and her 4 children were living illegally in a condemned home that was in severe disrepair.
Dude. Yeah. It's not a stable home.
Nope.
They're in turmoil all the time.
Yep.
So here's what we have. We have the separation of...
There's good ghosts that they experience too, though, apparently. More benign manifestations by Bither include luminous, transparent human shapes and poltergeist events. That's
Okay.
what they're described as.
All right. I mean,
Beings of light.
yeah.
Rods.
This all kind of sounds like angels, you know, when people
I'm sure
see
that's where she was
angels.
probably
Yeah,
going, and then she
yeah.
died in 1999. So,
You know, I can't speak on the angels thing.
mm-hmm.
I can speak of the rods thing, but anyway. So we're dealing with emotions run high.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes play tricks on you.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you forget where you put your, fucking
Trauma does weird things to the human brain.
yeah.
So I think that living in this area.
Well, thanks
in
for
this
waiting
house,
this long to put that in here.
I was,
when
waiting
trying to
for
carry.
you to land your plane, buddy. I was
I
giving
was
you.
trying to, but you kept
You know, fuck you. For this episode of the Ninja Podcast,
4 other dangerous podcasts. We're done. No, I was going into where I was trying to get to a point, and you just kept being a silly face back there.
I was trying.
You just did kissy face while I was saying that.
I was trying not to fucking laugh, to not stumble over your lines. Why are we recording this?
Yeah, tell them what you did. Tell them what you did.
Show them on the doll where I touched you.
Yeah, there we go. But no, what I'm saying is, they're living in tumultuous circumstances. Everything's bad. What? Everything's bad.
Yeah.
Emotions run high, and it's synonymous with people go, okay, they feed off this. The ghosts feed off this, and then you also have shit's just bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Sure.
And your mind will want to latch on to whatever. It's easier to accuse paranormal circumstances, for like, I just knocked over the coffee pot or I knocked over the boiling plate. It's just, it falls within that realm.
Yeah.
Besides, in reality, did they really do the going to the lab and all the controlled stuff?
I don't know. It's clearly that's the movie.
I know it was based off that Philip experiment that I was telling you about.
Yeah, but I think it was just like because they talk about Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor going and doing this thing, who you heard in that clip that we dropped earlier. Really, all of their involvement was just taking those pictures.
Yeah,
because they weren't around when all these these assault allegations occurred. Yeah. So they weren't even there for any of that.
So they just heard a crazy ghost story and they brought 30 motherfuckers in to just like,
yeah,
let's try to science this with 30 people in this small, dilapidated squatter situation.
Yeah, which I imagine was, and I'm going to reference it again, the scene from Predator when they're in the jungle and it's all them gunning down the forest. That's the equivalent of how they shot this thing.
Yeah, they were like brute force. Let's do this through brute force.
Yeah.
And by brute force, I mean just a bunch of fucking people trying to elicit a paranormal event.
Yeah.
As opposed to just letting it happen and capturing it organically. And the only reason I kept going, my mom, this, that, was like, I just, things get rough and we had all these experiences that just happened. I went searching for it at other places like Byberry and all these other locations, but we just had naturally weird shit happening all the time. And, there was always some kind of fight or something going on. It was growing up in the 90s, it was,
I get you. You understand the emotional stew that was occurring.
Exactly.
I got you.
It is an emotional stew. And
I got you.
people like stew. Not this stew because they don't know it.
No.
But,
the ghost liked the stew.
The ghost loved the stew.
Yeah.
Ghost like stew! But, I don't mean to keep harping on, like, this is the environment I grew up in. I just, like, once again, we always say it, based on a true story.
Yep.
Just like
Sure.
Liars in the Sky. You get this amalgamation of just like a director and a writer, and they go, let's adapt this story to be this.
Yeah.
But when you look at the actual real story, it's just...
It could just be these people profiting off of a woman who had some sort of mental illness.
Exactly. So they find this broken family.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, this is right for us to, your ghosts? What's going on?
Yeah.
Your kids? I guarantee they were all sleeping in the same bed. And if she was having problems in her sleep,
Who knows?
They
I mean,
were
they said they were in separate rooms, but yeah, who knows?
I doubt it. They had separate rooms, but I want to go on a limb here and say they were probably at points sleeping in the same bed, and her mother thrashing. That's a big reason why a lot of them probably had these bruises.
Maybe. It's definitely weird.
Weird enough.
Yeah.
It's weird enough. But, I once again, you want to believe, but this one becomes one where it's like you have the movie versus the actual story.
Yeah.
And in the movie, it seems like it was much more of a controlled scientific environment. Well, then you find out that they're like, let's bring 30 people into this home.
Yeah. Well, it was, they smelled the good stuff, and they were like, let's do it. And they
were
brought
like,
many guys.
Amityville Horror?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's, who knows what is at the heart of all this? I mean, there absolutely could have been some kind of paranormal activity that could have been occurring here. We'll never know. But it was actually, it seemed to be like the kids said, it was more hurt by them coming in because but from more activity alleged, and then also it really didn't help them in any way. Like them coming in really they didn't really gain much evidence. There's those stupid pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only people that gained anything from it was the people that came in and took the pictures.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because you hear about this woman, and there's definitely more than that one picture. They have a few because in the sightings episode, they talk about the one episode that got scratched when they were trying to clean it, and it's a picture of the woman. It's a little murky, and it's murky because we can't know exactly what happened.
Right, and they also they go, oh, we had film and
yeah.
All right, well, it's a shame that you guys didn't, if you were here to accomplish something and actually photograph something.
Yeah.
You only came prepared with flash cameras,
Yeah.
And in the movie, they have that great scene where, like, the thing moves around, goes into the wall, and it's like, well, it'd have been sweet if you actually prepared.
Yep.
You brought 30 people here.
Yep.
Not one of them has a camcorder.
Yep. You know what I'm surprised?
Fucking
I'm
real
surprised.
at this
I'm
point.
surprised the Warrens didn't try to get involved in this one.
That's the thing. Their hooks were already in with the other two.
Yeah.
And they actually are a little more credible.
You're right.
So at this point, it's like they knew, well, let's not go over there because the rest of the community, they're not going demon.
No.
They're not going demon. They're going
just
anomalous, unidentified, compelling force.
Yeah.
So they were like, if we go over there, we'll probably get our ass kicked.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Elaine couldn't be like,
right.
Okay.
Do you mean Lorraine?
Oh, I'm sorry. Elaine.
I like that you misremember her name. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I'm just...
Yeah, I know.
I'm done with these fucks.
Well, honestly, that's all there is to it, man. I mean, it happened. There was this very short period of time where they came in and tried to document what was going on. But we have these testimonies by the kids. The mother, the woman Doris Bither, doesn't really even say much. We don't really get that much from her. It's just what was reported
Because the narrative was controlled by the
seemed to be
scientific community.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I hear you.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Do you want to actually document something and say that it's not real, or do you want to just go full board, take control of the narrative, give these photos, say this is what it was, and then just bankroll and write a book later?
Yeah, and that's what they did, and I think they overreached because they thought this was going to be a big case, and it just wasn't. I think they went in there and they got in there and they were like, oh, they saw that this is a very damaged family. They saw the house. They were like, oh, yeah. All right, well, let's try to get some pictures, and they just backed out slowly because they saw that there was some. To me, it sounds like that there's some kind of situation going on.
No,
sure.
Just
like, okay,
but they also messed up by bringing that many people into the case.
Yeah, I mean that's incidental at that point. But yeah,
I'm saying if you would have just kept it within 4, they would have wrote a meal ticket. They would have wrote it into the end of the time.
Maybe, because who knows what would have occurred with this with Doris. Who knows what she was up. Like maybe she couldn't handle it. Maybe because it sounds like she's, they said that she had abuse in her past. She was an alcoholic. She had all these issues. Who knows how she was,
Right, so let's throw...
Did she have a job? Who knows what was going on?
Let's throw 30 people into the house.
Yeah, I think it's just, I think this is one of those ones where they tried. They got this photo, which is an interesting one, where
got a movie out of
the
it.
way that it goes, and you could tell that it's in the air because it's not a light drawn on the wall. Because it would have curved at where the joint in the wall is. It's an interesting photo, but then again, it could also be a hair on the lens.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna go hair. I mean, I think they are.
That's the prevailing theory.
Sure, but I also think they're kind of compelling in the fact that it's just. Yeah, it is what it is at the time of the technology, and you could say hair on the film. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I mean, the movie's fun, and we have once again we're crushing our own Mount Rushmores of these stories.
Yeah,
just to get because we want the good
Oh
stuff.
yeah, for sure.
We're after the good stuff.
Yep.
So any kind of final thought on this?
That really...
Closing statement. I meant final thought, Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Take care of each other. No, take care of yourself and each other. Not really. I mean, I kind of just said my piece, honestly, with that. I don't think there's not much else. There's not much else to it. I think it's, there's definitely some trauma there. I can't say for certain what anything was in that situation. Because we weren't there. We can't know now because, she's long gone. And, maybe something interesting happened there, but whatever it was, contained to when it was just them and there was no investigators. And the claims are there. The kid seems to corroborate some of it, but also if you're a victim of trauma, your memory's not so great.
Right.
So it's... Whatever happened here was not good. I'll just put it that way. Whether it's ghosts or, side effects of trauma.
Right, and it's easier to blame a supernatural force than just human nature, and human failure.
Yeah, which is, who knows what was going on.
Yep.
So
I guess my closing statements will be, we'll go back to our second episode we ever did. Mm-hmm. Places aren't haunted, people are haunted.
Yes.
And in this case... doesn't necessarily mean ghosts or anything paranormal.
Yeah.
The mind can trick you into a lot of things. Certainly has done things to me, which I'm going to say, whether it be I've seen ghosts or I haven't, but I know that I've had some experiences, and this, besides all the craziness, is in line with my experience. And I can understand where you might go ahead and say, yeah, paranormal was involved when it could have just been, your mind playing tricks on you.
Yeah, I think with this particular case, I think it's all going to be perspective.
Right.
So,
well, guys, thank you for joining us again on another journey into insanity. But that's it. That's all we got on the entity case. And for this episode of Other Dangerous Podcast, I'm Ken James.
And I'm Jason McKittrick.
And as always, have a spooky evening. Thank you for listening to Other Dangerous Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerouspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangerous Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.